recording. Welcome guys to the Brass Webinar Career Growth Part 3, wherein we are going to talk about on how to become or what it's like to become a community manager. So right now, we're actually with um, Lupin here, actually with Lupin. So welcome, Lupin. If you could share a brief summary or introduction about you, how you started in Web3, that would be great. So yeah, take the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So I'm Lupin. Actually, I'm by profession, I'm an engineer, and I have already experience in project management and business development. And at the same time, I jumped into Web3 because there's this emerging industry, and I see value in terms of helping them with my background in project management and business development. Prior to those things and entering into Web3, I started actually as moderator by just helping, contributing as well to that DeFi project. And then sooner or later, due to my as well, I don't know if my performance and stuff, so I became a first moderator, beta tester, and then I tapped and then giving back as well by my experience. I was pro bono moderator of some other projects, emerging projects, and working as a mod, I can see learning in terms of community management, and I seek as well mentors and learning from my previous community managers or community managers of the projects I am to, because I believe the fastest way to learn actually, if they're aware, is to have this get this experience from this seasoned community managers. And fast forward, so I left this Web2 job of mine, and then I got CM community manager role in a project. So alongside with other moderator project, and yeah, I'm full time now in Web3, helping and contributing. Yeah.
It's so glad to see a fellow person from Web 2 transition beautifully in Web 3. I also have a similar thing going on as well. I actually had like I started full time, like basically like just just that. No smooth transition, just a hard transition. Like
Yeah.
I don't wanna do this anymore. So I transitioned to Web 3
Yeah.
and it has been really good. Mental health wise, I can say I'm happy,
Mm.
and I hope you are happy as well with what you currently have.
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
And I aspire for everyone to be on that level as well, like full time
Yeah.
Web3, right? But yeah, I have some few questions here. Just few questions for our people here. First is, can you share your experience with community management? How you get started with that field?
The audience
Yeah. Just sharing your like exact transition, right?
on my end.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. From my transition, since I'm working with a university, specifically in a research department, and I have this already background, right? I have mentioned earlier in project management, and I have this actually. I started that Web3 project or what Web3 gig that I have before during a typhoon, because there's this long suspension. I don't know if you're Typhoon Odette, right?
Yeah.
So there's this long suspension, and I was able to participate, engage, and then until such time I was given the opportunity to be a moderator. And yeah, actually, I have to emphasize moderation or community moderator, because actually it's the prerequisite of being a community manager. Because if you're dealing with people on the grassroots or within the members, definitely you will be successful as well for being a community manager. And going back to the question regarding the transition, so yeah, I'm working alongside moderation and at the same time working in the university. So because I will end my project there on that university, so I took that leap of faith in terms of I
Yeah.
will be going deep dive to Web3. So I ended my contract there, and then I took this moderation role full time. And then as it progresses, I can transition myself, or due to time management as well, I can get as well other gigs or other similar roles that I am with my expertise and my background. So yeah, that's how I transitioned. And as I
That's
mentioned
yeah,
earlier, I took
yeah.
some gigs in moderation until such time I learn it, and then learning as well. Since I have met Accelerate, so I was able as well to leverage my quote unquote my Discord proficiency. So yeah, very grateful for Accelerate as well. And yeah, leveraging on that, I was able to get a community manager role to a project, specifically the NFT project.
That's honestly a smooth transition, right? It truly is. Like there's a rainbow after the storm.
Yeah,
Like
agree.
the you are correct. Definitely, you are correct when it comes to like being a community manager. You really need experience when it comes to moderation. Can
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of courses there, like the ones from Accelerate. They have a moderation course and then they transition you to community
Right.
management. That's actually us, by the way.
Yeah.
So it was a good experience, honestly. Like I'm amazed on how you like you were an engineer, you were doing all these projects and everything, and then you transitioned to other projects as well in Web3, right?
Yeah. It's a
How was
matter of
it?
time
Yeah.
management. Yeah. Go ahead.
How was it emotionally when you transitioned? Was it difficult for you to transition or
On my end, it's kinda not difficult, but somehow exciting, with a sense of no direction at first. But yeah, it's more of an excitement because since I mentioned that I took the leap of faith, so that's what my experience, or that's my feeling during that transition.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Nice, that's good.
excited. Yeah.
That's honestly really good. So, another question that I have here is how do you handle conflicts within the community? Like let's say there's a FUD, right?
Mhm. For me, a FUD is actually part of a project. You have to recognize it because there will always be praisers, someone who praise your project, and there will always be someone who will criticize, not in a way that um, l- they want bad after your project, but they want as well clarity, confusion. So yeah, as our audience here are listening, so yeah, you have to acknowledge it. And working as a CM, so I have this experience actually. So I don't know if I can share this with you. So I handled these two sides of story. No, I want you have to, and at the same time you have to handle conflicts professionally and objectively, because if you put into consideration these people, you don't know them specifically, right? We're via pseudonyms or anonymous here. We don't know what are their feelings in that kind of situation. So I have this experience. So there's this individual show rudeness or somehow misbehaved
Yeah.
for the minor mistake of a certain mod, for example, conducting some confusion. Actually, it's a matter of communication. So you have, as a CM, so I acted there as an arbiter or some sort of middleman in terms of pacifying them, acknowledging them, um, their behaviors or responses to each other. So yeah, instead we emphasize that we should address this internally. So we have this thing that they could discuss matters privately, right? So yeah, long story short, so that team, or not necessarily the team, but on our end, we have to be humble enough if we have made a mistake, or if there's no mistake, but we have to acknowledge them that if we have done something wrong or confusion on their end, on our end, so we sort of saying sorry or saying some um acknowledgement on our end that we have missed communicate, or what do you call this thing, shortcomings, specifically. And then we emphasize that we have as well rules to follow. That's why we reprimand you, we um sort of not penalty, but sort of um reminding them that they have to as well
Yeah,
behave the way how the community goes. Yeah.
exactly. That's correct as well. Adding to that as well is making sure that when you guys are conversating with people, whether you are a moderator or a CM that has banning powers, I highly suggest do not ban
Yeah.
people at an instant, right?
Yeah, correct.
Because that will begin a fire. You don't fight fire with fire, you pacify it
Agree.
with people. Like
Correct.
just like what Lupin said here, processing the what's this again? Not the errors, but the things that happened with the moderator is dealing it
Yeah.
internally. What you can do as well, you can also ask the person to open a ticket to where you can ask the person to, hey,
Discuss. Yeah,
yep,
privately.
can discuss all these
And
things and let us know. Most of the FUD that
yeah,
I've
correct.
received on my end are basically feedback that they really want to see on the community. So
Correct.
it's a rare opportunity to see some pure hate on people. Most of it are
Yeah.
just confusion.
Yeah. Correct. So you have to address it because it's part of a community. Even in real life, like, right? There will always be some sort of conflicts, but you have, as a leader, you have to evaluate those. So that's why we have to as well possess that thing called critical thinking, right?
Exactly. And logically thinking too, right? What's the right thing to do?
Correct.
So yeah, we talked about conflict, but how about feedback? How do you handle feedback from the community
Ah,
members?
Great question, actually, because if you uh, sort this feedback openly, or even criticisms, right?
Yeah,
You have to consider this feedback and criticisms openly, because in that way your community will improve. Actually, big improvement if you acknowledge this feedbacks and criticisms, because if you because there's we have this thinking, right, as managers, as part of the team. We have this mindset, or we have this thinking that we will be the one implementing this thing, this and that. But as considering the feedbacks from our community, even the criticism, so we have to handle this, or we have to sort this thing openly, because um, in that way as well, you have to acknowledge them, and you have to strike as well balance, by the way,
yeah,
between what the community wants versus what the team is planning. Because as community manager, you have to sync with this, because not all the requests or the feedback might be um uh a good thing as well for the team. Because, for example, if the team, I'm sorry, if the community wants this rewards and this incentives, but we have to as well to consider, as community manager, we have to consider as well the resources of our team, right? So might be deplete, it would deplete the resources of the team. So feedback is good in terms of collecting them, segment them, and implement, actually, if it's feasible and mutually beneficial to the team and the community. And for the criticisms, I would say evaluate, validate, and yeah, necessarily, if there's a measure so that needs to be addressed, so you have to address it as professional as possible. Yeah.
awesome.
So that's how
That's
handle feedback. In fact, if there's if you have a community, actually, you have to create a channel or create a feedback mechanism wherein you can collect to your community. So in that way, you can openly assess them, what they want, what they do not want, and at the same time, you can as well ask suggestions from them and evaluate if it's feasible and mutually beneficial. Yeah.
Awesome. That's a beautiful answer, honestly. And next is it's all about community, right? It's all about at the end of the day, it's all about growing the community and what
Correct.
the vision is. So, what is your vision for our community, like Brass Energy, and how would you work towards achieving it? Like not even Brass Energy, but any communities that you are working
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, actually, in terms of the vision, may it be on the Brass Synergy or any community, actually, it is essential to have the community have some growth, but we have to consider the growth that is organic and authentic. That's the main thing that we should consider. And actually, no, we have this. I have this vision that our community values professionalism and continuously learning. And for the Brass Synergy, this will apply actually because we are here in this two community to grow, to foster our skill sets, our expertise as well, and then we will be able to leverage it in whatever communities we are handling, we are part of, and I believe we might be anonymous here or via our pseudonyms, but we must show a commendable track record in terms of your performance. And at the same time, because Web3 is new, what would be the goal for our community is they should be the trailblazers. It's somehow paying forward. If you are contributing right now or learning right now, sooner or later, you'll be the one contributing to others. May it be in what expertise you're into. May it be you have Web 2 skills that can be leveraged in Web 3. So definitely you can contribute actually. And in that way, you will be able to grow and you will as well fulfill the visions of your respective community or projects or Web3 startups that you are into. And in terms of working, achieving it, I believe for Brass Synergy, so we must as well provide necessary tools for to be professionally represent to other projects and continuously learn through our just like this one educational event um, that we
Yeah,
are conducting. Yeah.
that's a good answer. Thank you so much. So, with the verge of technology, right? With AI and Web3 emerging, so how do you stay updated with the latest trends and technologies?
Yeah, actually, that's a beautiful question because technology and even emerging technologies is cannot be stopped. So you have to continuous learn and at the same time make connections beyond not just within your circle but beyond your circle. Why? Because in that way you will grow not just within your skill set or within that bounds of circle, but you have to approach things holistically. So I would suggest if you want to be on track or you want to be at par with the latest technologies, considering the Web3, the AI, I believe sooner or later they will emerge quantum computing. So that's the thing as well that I am looking after. And yeah, but essentially you have to take some short courses, experiment stuff. Experiment in a sense that it is within your control. So you have to make some risk management there that it won't sort of if you're handling projects, so if you want to experiment something, make sure that it won't ruin the whole as a whole or as a system. So and at the same time as working as well with yourself and working with others, definitely seek feedback from your colleagues and same time with your leader, because in that way you can um, take these feedbacks constructively and definitely you will improve in whatever trends, technologies or whatnot that will emerge in the future.
Exactly. Yeah, I myself drawn to a lot of stuff. Some of my attention would be like, like a goldfish where like, oh, I wanna hop onto that. Ooh, I wanna hop
Correct,
onto
correct.
that, right? But what I just learned from like working with AI and community management, it really works well together. Like it's bread and butter,
Correct.
right? So next question is we will be answering some of their questions after like
Sure, sure.
mine, but you know. So how do you encourage your community members to create and share content?
I it's okay. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question,
Yep.
Mark?
Yep, let's say you have a community,
I
right? And then you want them to create or share something like, to make the community more engaging. So how do you make it? Like how do you make sure that the community is more engaging?
Yeah, actually, in terms of creating or sharing a content within the community members, because I believe each community members, if you nurture them as a community and empower them with your respective projects, they will actually create a sort of this ambassador thing, natural ambassadors that will share your content, share your whatever announcements that you are into, and that's the natural thing that you can come up with if you have this culture within your community. And I believe they are aware actually this creator economy wherein those who create compelling content. So make sure for you guys as community members who wants to share a sort of announcement or updates within your project you're into, so make it as much as possible educational, informative, or fun, and make sure to stay this within this bound because it will be valuable. And basically, if you are able to share content with your project, they can see your um, potential, and at the same time, who knows, you might get an opportunity within that project. And I I don't know if they're aware as well for our
Mm,
audience that if you are creating content, you are actually creating your brand actually. I don't know if they're aware of it as a, like quote unquote personal branding as an
exactly.
individual where you stand out, and each one of us has a unique value, and at the same time you can contribute as a content creator. So you have to um I don't know what's the term, but you have to somewhat express yourself, share what you have in mind as a in a content way, may it be your personal thing, what the knowledge and skills you have, or even the projects that you are into, you are what project that you are supporting at the same time. Yeah,
Exactly. That's a good answer. Personal branding so is really important when you want to stand out as a community manager. Because yes, there are tons of community managers, but almost half, or even like let's say 75% of them doesn't even have personal branding thing that they
correct.
really do, right? Some cases they
Yeah,
don't even have a PFP. But
yeah,
like
yeah. Agree,
this,
agree.
for example, Lupin has his own
Persona.
persona, has his own identity, even has his own gifs and emojis, which is insane.
Yeah,
Personal
yeah.
branding to a whole
To
new
add
level.
and Mark, to add as well, if you're creating content, I would suggest. Actually, I am against no, against this fake it till you make it. But if as much as possible, it's rewarding actually and genuine in terms of creating your content. If you learn it and you share it, so yeah, instead of fake it till you make it, learn it and you share it. Yeah,
Exactly.
to add as well because yeah,
Just like what I am doing in LinkedIn. I'm only sharing what I really want to, which is like community management, all the stuff that I am into. So I've been growing my LinkedIn.
yeah,
And
I've
yeah.
seen it. Yeah,
I've been passionate enough with LinkedIn just because of sharing information to people that I think that
correct.
it's more valuable,
Bringing
right?
value, correct.
Because it's all at the end of the day, it's all about bringing value, whether to you or to the others.
Yeah,
So,
agree.
lessons and values, right? These are the things that we give out to people. But what are the past lessons that you've learned from community management?
Okay, okay. Hmm, quite tough question, but as I have mentioned earlier, I started my career as a community. I started my career as a moderator, so I
Mm.
have to um as a and then right now I'm a community manager and previous community manager of some other projects. So what I can share or what lessons that I have learned actually is simple. Learn from others' best practices. So you might have a mentor or sort of uh not necessarily the things that um more expert than you, but you have to learn these best practices, the mistakes that they have done, and success stories. So you have you have to encompass this thing, and at the same time, in this market condition, always value authenticity over hype and quantity. So as you can see, right, is from previous as from the previous market condition, you can see that there's this hype thing. They're always after the floor price, the quantity, or the number of members within that. But the question is, are they authentic? And then I believe right now the community is maturing, and we have to bring value first before we sell them something. So if you ask me how, so make connections and identify for us what's in it for me in line with our vision and goals of the project. So we have to reiterate this one, because if you will just get something from your community, you will not grow, you will not be a genuine genuine project or community. But if you bring value first, definitely they will give value back. So that's, I have mentioned earlier, you will be an ambassador. These community members, what we are after for these community members is for them to be the ambassadors of our project, sharing what they have learned, what the value they are they have received from respective projects. And my my takeaway there is, yeah, we have to as well um what do you call this, considering them that they will be able to support you in whatever walks of life and learning from them. And my takeaway for as community manager, I would say you have this personality such as empathy, effective communication, conflict management. Actually, these are simple or sort of soft skills that you will consider, but I believe this is soft skills but hard to master, or somehow it will take some time for you to appreciate, or you have to mold this personality. And hard skills, actually the technical skills may be case by case basis, because sometimes you have to learn this, but sometimes you have to, but essentially you have to be sort of more on leaning towards the soft skills as a community manager. And always, yeah, as I have discussed earlier, questioned earlier about the feedback, so always
Yeah.
create a feedback loop to better improve your community. And if you ask me some sort of steps, first create a feedback collection system, maybe via form or any platform that you can get this feedback, and then compile and segment those. So there's with if you segment those, when you say segment, there's this list of suggestions, remarks, but if you can segment those, there will always be a common denominator there, and that common denominator will definitely um, somehow similar or analogous to what they want actually. And then test and validate this in a small scale experiment. That's why I have said experiment in your experiment these things within your control, and if it works, implement it gradually, and if it doesn't work, scrap it or iterate it, or yeah, and seek as well feedback. So in that way you create a loop. Yeah. So
That.
again, to
Yeah.
emphasize, summarize, have soft skills, um, bring value to your community, and lastly create a feedback loop. Yeah.
That's really good. And these soft skills, man, is hard to be consistent at. That you gotta be
Agree.
consistent with it, right?
Soft skills but hard to master.
It is. It is. Why do they even call it soft skills, right? But yeah, last question. Last question. This is a simple yet complex question. It boils down to how are you as a community manager? So how do you measure success of a community?
Yeah, actually, that's question as well. Same with Ashmal. A community manager, what KPI should be considered? Yeah, actually, working as well with, just to emphasize, working with research, you have to always have this data. So I believe there's this quote: you can't manage what you can't measure. So obviously you have to be data driven and science based in approaching KPI. So first, as a community manager, I always see to it the growth and retention. So because why? Business wise, this is the funnel after you onboard them, because we have this marketing side, and basically as community manager we are the retention side of a certain project, because they stay there, they interact, engage. So as much as possible, consider the growth and retention as part of your KPIs. Then you can create a sort of strategy such as activities, AMA, giveaways if you have enough resources, and other surprises, because I believe if you implement sort of some surprises there, you create some anticipation within your community, and within that thing, you create some sort of suspense thing on their end. And then second one for the KPI are engagements, because you have, actually this is the challenge right now, because some projects might have starting, growing, and at the same time, they weren't able to express what they want for their community. So one of the strategies is somehow, if you're a community manager, you have to think outside of the box, I believe. And then, because you want to engage with them, interact with them, and I believe they want some sort of activities that they can be rewarded as part of the community, you have to create a sustainable incentivization. And in that way, you won't deplete your resources, and at the same time, they create value. You reward them because they bring value. That's how things work. And then, if you're community manager, I believe you have this moderator. So you have to as well track the moderator's performance. So one of which that I always emphasize them is to be empowered, educate them as much as possible in any way you can help them, actually, and them have them a sense of ownership, because in that way they would love to engage, because in the first place they somehow own this project, I would say. And you have to give them as well responsibilities in that community. And definitely as community manager, you have as well to provide opportunities for them, because in that way they will as well help you in building that community. And then, as I have mentioned, one of the KPIs that we will consider is how we integrate or how we respond to feedback, because in that way you create a loop, as I have mentioned earlier, and in that way your feedback will always be your improvement, your improvement process, and alongside with accomplishing the project's goals and vision. Yeah,
That's
it
a
may
good.
be broader, but you can what you call this, you can expound it more, it depending on what categories, or what you call this, what I forgot the term, but um what industry, or maybe an NFT, what products and services, yeah, that you
Yeah.
are offering to that sort of community.
Yep, exactly. So those are our wonderful questions here, and thank you for answering. Now we move on to the community side, like their
Nice,
questions.
nice.
Right. For the first one, Ashmal, I think we already answered that from the last question. But the second one, do you want me to answer that, or do you want to answer his second question?
uh, if you want to grow my Discord server with relevant audiences, what should I dive into? Hmm. If I can see your question, if I want to grow my Discord server with a relevant audience, what step? I believe if you want to retain, I don't know if what y- can you expound the question more, Ashmal? If it's within that Discord internally, or you want to onboard more?
Okay.
Uh, so because it will be on the marketing side, and you have as well to coordinate with the marketing team, or although some of which, if you're a community manager, you're sometimes within the marketing team, but for the external side, you have to create a compelling content. That's why uh, you have to somehow, I would say, some skills that would filter, because in the marketing side, and we have to segue a bit about the marketing. So you have to funnel these communities from starting from awareness, convert them, and then be your ambassadors, and most probably they will convert them through by entering your Discord server or community. But how about you, Mark? What can you? Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
the thing I will look after. How we will target this via content.
Well, my answer is a little bit different based on analytics, right? So what specific product are we sharing, or what
Yeah,
specific project are we sharing? Is it NFT? Is it a platform? Is it a blockchain? So you gotta consider that there are multiple customers or multiple users behind those. Like let's say for NFT people, those are like degen people. So you gotta look for people, let's say on Twitter. You gotta see like for most like famous NFT projects that sold out already, right? So you gotta see how they did it, research on how they did it, and then you can try to
yeah,
replicate and change that as well. For platforms as well, just like here in Brass Energy, we aim to look for people who are professional, just like Lupin here and the rest of you guys, right? So we mostly target people from different platforms as well, like LinkedIn, and people who are interested in building their portfolio. And let's say for blockchains, right? Most of it are for people who are really building um, projects,
yeah,
like a specific development team for like developing on, let's say, for ETH, for example. So you gotta understand what your current product is. What is your persona that you're planning to get? So since you are getting a social media automation for like a SaaS tool, what would be something really great for that is looking for people who are interested in building their social media. You gotta start with
correct.
obviously social media, right? TikTok, Twitter, um, TikTok. Yeah, that's a good platform for you
Yeah,
to get people. Um, but this dives into marketing already because basically, guys, giving you the basic understanding of everything is marketing gets the people, community retains the people. So,
yeah.
but
But I have to as well to add, Mark,
yeah,
because if yeah, because you have added any kind of marketing example. I would say first is, since you have identified the products and services you're offering, one thing that we will also consider in terms of attacking them, this is for the business side of things, but you have to consider what your products, or what are the problems you are trying to solve, because in that way you attract attention already. And I believe if you have this quote unquote, because people are emotionally attached, right? And if they have these problems, and through your content, if they have somehow received that content very valuable to them because that's their problem, I believe the marketing side of it will just follow, as long as you have identified their problems, and in that way they will be able to um, be curious, or be um, somehow tracking them or checking them what are their products, because they have seen that problem which is relatable to them. And I believe that would be the best thing, the best marketing that you can uh, provide or sort of showcase. their problem, and you're providing solutions with your platform.
Exactly. Just like what Brass Energy here, right? We aim
Correct.
for a safer environment for Web3 people to work at. One of the main things that I talk about is, hey, you get paid here in a safe way, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the platform holds your pay, and then once you finish your job, you get your pay, versus to
Yeah.
traditional Web3 working. It's just random, right? Am I getting paid next week?
Yeah.
Right? I did this X
Yeah.
amount of work.
Correct.
Am I getting paid? So, with,
Correct.
yeah, gotta understand the messaging as well of your brand. So you need to like summarizing everything. You need to know the persona of the targeted persona that you have. Gotta know the product or the project itself so that you can clearly share that to people, and also at the same time as well connecting with the marketing side
Yeah.
of business things. And then
Yeah.
lastly is making sure that you portray all these messages consistently.
Agree. Agree. Because in that way you will be able to convey that properly.
Yep, and that's the only thing that is important, like conveying that information to people, because information and communication are the key in growing a community.
Correct.
Yeah. It's not bots, it's all about community. So
Hope
yeah,
we have answered your question.
yep, we really hope that we answered your question. I think Vanishing has a question because he's been typing. But how about the others? You guys have any
Don't
questions?
don't be shy, guys.
It's okay. Wanna answer your question as well?
Anyways, if they are shy to ask it openly, our DMs are open. Anyways, yeah, this question.
Server attack, how do you handle it? That's a good question.
Question. How can you advise this word? Ah, okay. Yeah.
Like raiders, right?
Um,
Yeah.
raiders and at the same time sort of malicious deep malicious quote quote bad actors that we will that are trying to ruin your community. So for on my end, experience wise, I always see to it before I onboarded. I see to it that community team, the team who have created that project, and at the same time, once we have onboarded as well moderators, we see to it that these individuals have already 2FA their account. That's my that's the one thing that I am always review or check before they have this community built. And at the same time, yeah, this is just based on my experience. Maybe Mark can advise as well, but yeah, they have to be 2F8, and at the same time for the community members, so we have to see to it that they have this several restrictions, permissions we that they are giving access to, because in that way you have sort of control and you have the confidence that even the community is good, but if there's one bad actor, it can ruin your community.
Exactly. Yeah, same goes with me. 2FA, and I even hop on a call, one-on-one call to my moderators, like
Correct.
just checking them. Are you human? All right. Just making sure.
Yeah.
When it comes to security as well, CAPTCHA, like Sledgehammer or Pandez, those are the
Yeah,
two things that I
verification.
really like.
Yeah.
And for me personally, from the communities I build, one of my unique um, ways to verify people is to actually meet with them one on one. So one on one or on a group call. So I've
Right.
done that with the two communities. Same goes with this one. And it's a way for you to make sure not only you are not getting attacked, and you also assure that the people who are coming in are actually humans.
Yeah. Not bots.
And also there are a lot of
Log.
ways, right? There are really a lot of ways to like advise on how to make your Discord server a lot secured. First of all, right? Roles. Gotta make sure that you're not giving away admin permissions to your
Right.
moderators. And also at the same time as well, any channels that may have a leak, a potential of them sending a link, right? Avoid for people sending a link to specific channels.
Yeah.
Because links, a simple click of a button, your wallet gets hacked from a millionaire becomes to a zero basically. So gotta careful with that as well. Because there's a sketchy way on how to embed messages on Discord. Honestly,
Yeah.
let's say I'm going to show that to you guys, everyone here. Like I'm not sure if it's possible anymore. How to
Yeah.
embed
On
link.
your end, perhaps we can create that.
Yeah, there's a way
Bracket and
for yeah, there's a way
bracket
for
and parentheses.
yep. There's a way for people to let's say google.com, but it goes to another site. So be
Yeah,
careful
yeah,
with
yeah.
that as well. A lot of people are doing that, so that's just, you know, a way for us to see.
Yeah. And to bring value as well to your community members. So you have as well to remind them that that uh, we are anonymous here and they have to secure their assets, have their accounts 2FA, make sure that they are what do you call this, verified to that community, and at the same time on their end as well, because Web3 is very wild in nature, so they have as well some measures to safeguard their assets, like certain tools as make sure that those tools are verified as well.
Exactly. You are correct. I think we have one more question from Ashmal.
Yeah, yeah. There is
What
a
kind of
question actually.
things to do for personal branding? Like any example? How about you, Lupin? What's some of your examples?
Actually, on my end, since I'm posting random stuff in Twitter, not necessarily random that it's nonsense, but somehow you create a sort of branding in such a way what you want to be portrayed first and foremost. So on my end, I always provide education and at the same time, yeah, regarding the cybersecurity side. So yeah, you create a not necessarily video content, but somehow educational content. Like on my end, on the Twitter, I create threads. I post a graphic or something that is uh, somehow in that in a way educational, because because that's the thing I bring value. So that's in that way as well you will be perceived, or you will be sort of acknowledge that this person is providing this one. So yeah, th- that's how they look you, your, yeah, the way they see you actually. Yeah.
Yep. Just yep.
But it depends to your audience, because I believe Mark is in LinkedIn.
Yep, in LinkedIn, I'm more into like talking about communities, how to build communities, what are the
Yeah,
things, like, basically communities and AI, right?
yeah,
How can these two work together? So, at least find two niche that you want to talk about, but highlighting those two niche should also support one another. Similar to
correct.
communities in AI, AI would support communities in a way like it makes your work a little bit faster. Communities also support AI platforms, like these are the consumers as well. So because we're in the era of, hey, it's all about community driven sales, not just cold call sales anymore, right? It's
Yeah,
the community decides. So that's where I focus at, because that's where I started here in Web3. So it's not very specific when it comes to, oh, you need to have like a certain graphics, right? That's extra. That's you being consistent with yourself, right?
yeah. And for your personal branding, you have to as well to identify where are your audiences.
Yeah. for Lupin here, he's on X or Twitter.
Yeah, hi.
Me, I'm more
Yeah,
active on the other one, LinkedIn. So gotta understand different platforms as well. One platform has long form content, the other one has threads of content, and
yeah.
really is based on you. But yeah, any other questions, guys, before we go? Honestly, Lupin, it has been really amazing having you
Thanks, Mark.
here. Thank you so much. But how about the others? No
Thank you.
questions, guys? Ask now or forever hold your
If
peace.
if they're shy, they can DM us.
Obviously, yes. But if you guys have any more questions, our DMs are basically open. Just don't send us any sketchy links. If you have any questions, concerns about Brass Energy, you can always send us a message over at the
Yeah.
Builder chat or general chat, or even open a ticket. We can talk about it. And if you want to book a call with me, or if Lupin is available here, I'm open. Just let me know. I'll send you my calendar link. But yep, thank you guys so much. Lupin, it has been really
Thanks,
great.
Mark.
Thank you for being here. It's
Thanks
wonderful
as
to
well
have you
for
here.
inviting me.
Yeah, and we look forward to see everybody grow next week. We have a project management class. We have builder projects to where your name will be part of the project, and some of these projects will be paid as well. It really depends, but I'm just excited. James will be sharing a very good, like organized announcement telling everything that is happening around Brass Energy. So stay tuned for that and see you guys. Thank you so much and have a great weekend ahead. Bye bye, guys. Thank you, Lupin. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Thanks, Mark. Have a great day, guys. Happy weekend.